How are you? I'm Tamika Wong. I'm the program director here at Chinese Culture Center, and I want to say thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's a really great room that we have. I'm so happy to see each and every one of you here with us. I'm actually curious to know how many people is it for whom this is your first time. Can you raise your hands? Oh wow, okay, I'm pleasantly surprised. Well, thank you, welcome. Now that you know how to find us, we hope to see you again at other good programming this year. We've got a lot of great things, festivals and other things, and what we're really trying to do here is build our community. We're trying to support artists. By being here, you're supporting the community, you're supporting art, so really thank you so much for showing. Next, I want to also say a little bit about CCC. We've been here for a while, and we're a really known entity here in Chinatown, and we do contemporary art and other good things. And now that I'm the program director here, we're going to be jumping off in a few different directions, but I'm going to try to be as inclusive and active as we can, because there's a lot of different things that we need to fight on many fronts, I would say, at this moment. And so, we just need to be aware, we need to be connected, and we need to be part of a family. So, thank you again. Next, I'd like to say welcome and thank you to Robin Lung, our filmmaker, who's here with us tonight. She'll be available for question and answer, and I'll just invite her to say a few words.
Well, first, I want to say aloha. Aloha. Yeah, you guys have been to Hawaii, yay. So it's such a warm feeling to come to San Francisco from Hawaii and be welcomed by the Chinese Culture Center and Tomiko and all of you. My film, Finding Kukan, has been an 8-year-long journey to make. And it took a lot of people to help fund it. Some of you probably are in the audience. And also to research it and then to create it. One of the very special people who helped me to create it is in the audience today. Larry Reed can you stand up, Larry? Larry is the artistic director of Shadow Light Productions, and when you see the film, you'll notice that we have beautiful historic reenactments created with shadow, and that was a collaboration between me and Larry. And you'll find out more about that because Larry's going to join me for a Q&A after the film. I hope you can all stay for the for the Q&A after. If you can't, I do have an email sign-up list on the table over there. So if you can't stay for the Q&A, but you want to stay in touch, please put your name on the email list. I really want to thank you because unknowingly maybe, you have been one of the most important creative collaborators with me, because while making the film, I always envisioned sharing it with an audience, a live audience in a room. Doesn't matter, a theater, a community room like this, or a living room. But I always imagined sharing it with people, live people. And these days, that's really a rare opportunity because many people don't go to theaters anymore, and we've been able to screen at film festivals, but that's really the only time as a filmmaker I can share the film with a live audience. So I'm really, really happy that you're all here. I learn something new every time I screen it for another audience. So I look forward to sharing thoughts with you afterwards, and I hope you enjoyed the film.
Thank you, Robin. And I do want to also give a special shout out and thank you to the Chinese American Citizens Alliance San Francisco Lodge for supporting this screening and supporting Robin and making it possible for her to be here tonight. So let's give CACA a hand. Thank you so much. I think another good reason why a lot of you are here tonight is because of our other partner, CAM. So the Center for Asian American Media sent out an email to their list, and we really want to recognize them. So big round of applause for CAM. We're all excited for their CAM Fest this year in May, not in March. So we get to see something else here in March. So last but not least, I just want to say, if you can, please turn off your cell phones. That would be a really lovely thing. And if you need the bathroom, it's right here to the left. I think that's my last housekeeping announcement. But really, enjoy this film, and I'll look forward to talking with you after. Thank you. So I don't know about you, but I have so many thoughts and feelings, and I'm really, glad to know this story. So thank you so much, Robin. Let's give Robin a big round of applause.
Take a picture.
Oh, we got a picture, maybe a selfie. I just want to say, I have so many things going through my mind. I mean, I'm actually Japanese and Chinese descent, and so I relate to this in a kind of a different way, internment and so many different things that kind of we're woven through. And I feel like you told such a great story. It was so masterfully done, very organized, very clear. Sometimes, there's so many stories, it's hard to know, what to focus on and how to get the message across. But I think it really came through that she was such a powerful, driven person who was very smart and really, really broke boundaries in many ways and really just had her idea and went with it. And I think, for me, it was very inspiring because I think, a lot of us are seeing things that we think people should know about, that we think, something should be done about. But, we don't maybe know how to take action. We don't know what to do, what's the next step. But I feel like she was that kind of person. You're that kind of person, to really see this through on that journey. So I really thank you for making this film.
Thank you.
So my question that I want to just kick this off, is, what kept you going? I mean, I know that part about, find the protege, thing, that was great, and obviously the funders and needing to finish it and all that stuff. But, there's so many other things you could say, oh, well, it's time for me to maybe let this one go, or, whatever it may be. So really can you talk a little bit about what was driving you,
Well, first of all, it was really the void of not having a strong Asian American female character in all the books that I love to read and all the movies that I love to watch. And so when I became a documentary filmmaker, really was quite late in my life that happened, but I felt an obligation to really profile strong women and minority women that weren't in a lot of the mass media that was out there. So I really was searching for a Chinese American woman to profile in my first feature film. And when I discovered, that Li Ling Ai had written, well, I actually found out about her by reading her memoir about her mother and her father. They were both doctors in Hawaii. And there's just a small little, piece about her in the book. So when I found out she had been a filmmaker, she had produced a documentary film that won an Academy Award, that was really, something that piqued my interest. But the more I found out about her, the more intrigued I became, and I couldn't let it go because, most of the stereotypical images of Asians in mass media, Asian women, are that we're subservient, we're meek, and all of these things that aren't true. And so Li Ling Ai really served as a stereotype basher for me. I mean, I had also this picture of, my generation is a go-getter generation, but maybe the older people, in my grandmother's generation, maybe they weren't so much so. But now I realize that's totally wrong, you know, that a lot of these older Asian women that I see on the streets, they really did tremendous things, and they overcame so many obstacles. So that was really what kept me going, is that I felt an obligation to tell her story. It's so emblematic of so many women's stories that are lost and forgotten. And then I want to bring Larry Reed up, because one of the things that really kept me going is that I had great mentors and great collaborators in making this film. So I contacted Larry pretty early on in the process of making the film, because I really needed a visual way of telling the story that was all in these little bits of paper. And I had been searching quite a long time for a visual solution. I was on Vimeo a lot and YouTube a lot, and I came across this amazing piece that Larry had done, a theater piece, shadow theater piece called The Wild Party. And when I saw that, maybe Larry you can describe it, but it's a totally different version of China, of the traditional shadow theater that you're used to. It was really about a beat poem and a prostitute, right? A prostitute, and it's very sexy. And when I saw that, I thought, oh, that is gonna work. Oh, sorry. Sorry. So maybe Larry, would you like to? This is the first time that Larry saw the whole film put together. So I'm kind of curious to hear your thoughts, and maybe you can talk a little bit about the whole collaborative process and bringing the story to life through shadow.
Well, so I initially studied an Indonesian style of shadow theater, and then after close to 20 years of trying to go as deep into that as possible, I wanted to do something that could go to any culture and was more modern. And so I started experimenting around with projected shadows, which, and it was sort of like a live movie of shadow, the form that we came up with. And we've taken that form really to many different cultures and many different mythologies. But the piece that Robin saw was from the Jazz Age, and it was written by the first editor of the New Yorker, and it was the piece that inspired William Burroughs to be a writer. And so I thought, well, that all sounds really good. So, and it's kind of an Art Deco thing, which is, I think, what really appealed to Robin. And it's a great period graphically. So when Robin wanted to do the show, we had a lot of good resources in terms of style. And she had a pretty good idea of wanting to film the parts that couldn't be filmed, the parts that couldn't be said even, because we were implying this relationship between them, but we don't really know. We didn't want to go too far with it, but there was definitely, they were close. And so we were finding all sorts of ways to depict that closeness. But I think that the key to the success of all the shadows was the dancer, Wang Chao-chan, who is an amazing, she has this background that very few people in the world have. She's totally trained her family was Indonesian Chinese. They had to flee Indonesia when all the massacres were happening in the 60s, and they went to Taiwan, and then she came here, and she was here for 15 years. And performing and studying, she already knew Chinese dance quite a bit. She really loved Central Asian stuff, and she had a company that was still performing that kind of thing. And I knew her in the context of a Balinese dancer. So, unfortunately, she was deported after 15 years of being here, because they said she applied for an artist visa, and some office in Texas said, "You aren't famous enough to be an artist." And she's one of the best performers that I know. So we brought her back for this one, and I had brought her over another time we did a show called Good for Nothing Lover, which was Ming Dynasty poetry translated by San Francisco beatniks in the 50s. And when I showed that to Robin, she was like really convinced that this is the person that we need.
I got chills Whenever something I feel is going to work, or I just get chill. I just got chills because I remember that. I just got chills, and I said, we have to have, do something like that. But as I'm a producer also, I knew that it was going to be expensive to bring Wan Chao from Taiwan to do this, and it was kind of like hedging, and Larry really pushed. He said, she has the physical vocabulary that Li Ling Ai had, because Li Ling Ai was also trained as a dancer. She studied Western modern dance and Chinese traditional dance and Japanese no drama. So Wan Chao really embodied her spirit, and it was so successful that a few days ago, one of the men who actually had met Li Ling Ai as a young boy, his mother was one of her best friends, he thought that was actual footage of Li Ling Ai dancing. So that was how convincing Wan Chao was.
Yeah, and also really good editing, I thought.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions for Robin and myself? Yeah.
Is there copies of the Kukan film available for purchase?
So the question was, is Kukan available for purchase? And that's one of the announcements I wanted to make, is that we were able to include the original Kukan on the educational DVD of my film. And so we've remastered it. It's the full 85 minutes that's mastered from VHS, but also what we call Terranex, which means with a very sophisticated computer system, they've added pixels to the film so that it can be shown in, like on the big screen here, without breaking up. So there's the full 85 minutes on the DVD, and also the 35-minute portion of the film from the National Archives, which is remastered from 16 millimeter and much more clear, and the color is much prettier. But the 85 minutes is all there, so it's a very amazing educational reference. So it's available for institutions to purchase through New Day Films, and you can find out all the information on my website, which is findingkukan.com. I am selling a handful if people really want to see Kukan and they only want to use it in their own personal homes.
It's really expensive.
It's $60 if you want to get a copy. I have a couple with me, so see me afterwards if you want that. The other announcement I wanted to make is that Finding Kukan will be on PBS on America Reframed in May. It's unofficial, so I'm not supposed to advertise it, but orally we can do that. So May 8th it's going to be on. So again, if you want to get more details of that, please sign up on our email list so I can alert you about that. And please tell your friends and relatives about the film. It's really a word-of-mouth film. It's been being spread by word of mouth.
I like to tell audiences, if you love the film, tell your friends. If you hated it, tell your enemies.
I just want to confirm, the remastered copy used that 20-minute that was originally missing too?
Yeah, before Ray Scott died, he got a full copy transferred to VHS, but then when we realized there was missing chunks of the reels that his sons had, I couldn't, and they couldn't find the full version that Ray Scott used to make the VHS. So we suspect that the lab probably told him, you don't need this old thing anymore. This is state of the art. That's what people always say. Like so the lesson is, if you have home movies and stuff, if you're getting them put onto DVDs, don't throw them away, because technology always changes, and take good care of those. Make sure they're not in a bad, humid environment like Atlanta.
But how did the VHS survive? That's what's amazing.
Well, Ray Scott gave the VHS. Well, the sons got the VHS after he died. So one of the sons found the VHS in the basement and then made copies for the other brother. So each brother had a VHS copy. But when I discovered that the VHS was the only full copy. I called all the brothers and said, you have to take care of your VHS tapes, and none of them could find them. Unfortunately, one of the, Ray Scott's niece, who's a lot older, and I hate to say this, a woman, she knew exactly where hers was, so we got that transferred right away, and then one of the oldest brother found the original master VHS tape in the basement with his father's handwriting on it. That's why we know exactly when he did it and that he did it.
I just wanted to add a comment, film riveting, labor and love. How much footage is there of Nanking versus Chongqing?
There's no footage of Nanking because Ray Scott went to Nanking in 1938 with just a still camera. So they're the glass lantern slides of Nanking that he took. By the time he started filming in color on Kodachrome, it was 1939, and Nanking had already been taken over and was occupied by the Japanese. So he never got back there to film.
I have copies of two films that were made concerning World War II in China. One is a copy of Coppola's film, The Battle of China. I have a copy of that. Another one was found that no one thought the Japanese had ability to do color footage, film footage, until after World War II. But the Japanese did have it, and they did a footage of life in Japan and Japanese invasion in China and all that in color. And I have a copy of that film. In fact, I even have the copy with me right now.
So there are other color images of China, according to, what was your name?
Mitchell.
Mitchell, according to Mitchell. So Mitchell mentioned Francis Ford Coppola.
This is the Japanese film. This is the Japanese film with footage of Japan before and during World War II, and it's very interesting to see. I've shown it to some people here, and I think it's very interesting to see. It's about 90 minutes plus a bunch of shorts.
Yeah. So you mentioned the Battle of China, which Frank Capra directed after we got into the war, and he was working for the U.S. Army doing propaganda films. He does use images from Kukan in Battle of China, so they're easily identified, but they're in black. That's in black and white. So I think that's why the State Department actually had a partial part of Kukan, because Capra used images from the last part of the film. So he probably just cut it up, and the leftover part was kept somehow in the State Department, in the National Archives, I mean. Any other questions?
Who provided funding for your film?
Who provided funding? Well, so many people did. Individual people donated money. Did anyone in the audience help fund our film? We did a Kickstarter campaign, which is a crowdsourced online platform, and unknown people came forward. I still don't know who they are, and $10, $25, $100. And then we got to do the shadow scenes. We got a wonderful grant from the National Endowment for the Arts. So please make sure to keep telling your Congress people to save the NEA, because it's really important. I had a wonderful, if anyone's a friend of Douglas Ho, a man from Hawaii who has a lot of friends in San Francisco, came on as our executive producer and also came in with some big funding. So we pulled from all sources, including my parents.
There's another question.
Well, it's not a question, it's to honor you. Life is in a cycle, and I believe at the moment that you were asking yourself if you were to continue, it's very amazing, but what Larry and you did together is what Ray and we did together. Creative minds, when they encounter themselves, you see a masterpiece like this, and it's such a satisfaction. Thank you so much.
I didn't think of it that way, that we are like, But I think that they did have a creative bond, and whether or not they had a romantic relationship, I think that is what, that what is the end result, is the creative thing that they produced. And so it's so, it's so rewarding to follow in their footsteps and create a film after them.
Well, thank you for your diligence. That was wonderful. And my question is will it ever come to the theater?
Maybe that's not going to work. Sorry, Michelle.
Did you mean, will my film come to the theater, or will
it be
Kukan?
released? Would it ever be picked up and released?
My film?
Yes.
My film has been playing the festival circuit for the last year and a half, and we're not planning to do a theatrical release just because it's so expensive to do that, and there's not a lot of, there's really no financial reward for a film like mine. Unfortunately, people aren't going to the theaters as much anymore, so it's really tough for even a Hollywood film with a lot of backing to make a profit. But, it is going to survive in classrooms, so it's being picked up and taught already in places like University of Colorado. It's been bought by University of North Carolina and University of Michigan, and so it's getting out there. But please, if you have educator friends, please tell your educator friends about it, because that's the way it's going to live. My film and Kukan, that's how they will live into the far future, is in classrooms and libraries. So it's really important to get that out there. And you're also, on my website, if you are somebody who would like to donate a copy to your public library, that's also something that some of our film fans have done. They've donated the film to their favorite high school library or public library. So that's something we all have to work on. Hopefully, with your help, that will happen. But thanks for your question.
So thank you very much for this film. It's quite well done. I enjoyed it very much. So she made her biography, Kukan, and it mentioned in the documentary that she had written plays. Do those still exist?
Yeah, Li Ling Ai's, the question was, do Li Ling Ai's plays still exist? And yes, she wrote plays when she was in high school and in college, and she is known as the first Asian American woman published playwright. And those plays do still exist. You can find them on Alexander Street, which is an educational service, and they are being produced still. So somebody in theater teacher in University of Santa Cruz produced one of her first plays called I can't remember the title, but it has Rosie Moy in it. It's a play about a Chinese American young woman who is torn between following tradition and going her own way. It's something of Rosie Moy like that. And so the other plays she wrote were adaptations of famous Chinese plays like The White Serpent. So she was all about crossing the bridge, getting Americans to appreciate Chinese culture and doing that. So. Yes. Where is the Academy Award? That's a really great question. Back in the day, not everyone got the little Oscar statuette. So Ray Scott was given a special award, and it was a certificate. And he actually himself put it on a plaque, a wooden plaque, and put varnish on it and stuff. And so the sons have that. It's hanging in one of the sons' offices. And that son is trying to get the Academy to exchange it for an Oscar.
That's a great question. Okay. Okay.
So Let's give Robin and Larry another round of applause. Thank you so much. So I am hearing that there's a,
Did you want to, I just wanted to announce too that there's a DVD in the silent auction, so don't forget about the silent auction.
thanks to Robin's generosity. That is a wonderful thing. So what I would want to say is, I think there's a lot of interest in this film. People are excited about it. I think they are going to be looking for it when it comes out on PBS. I mean, I'm excited about it. I feel like there's many more stories within the story that we can maybe explore. So maybe we'll be doing this again when you're back in town. So how many people think that's a good idea? Would you tell your friends? Thank you. So I do want to say we made this a pay what you wish event because we did want to get the widest audience possible. We do, Chinese Culture Center wants to support this kind of work, wants to make sure that we support artists, that we get their work out in front of people. So if you can support CCC and the film and for us to continue to be able to do these kinds of things. I mean, I have Rick Kwan back here who's done a great movie on Dorothy's Toy, Dancing Through Life. And there's other good things that we want to be able to show. So if you can support, I would like you to think about that. Whether it's a few coins from your purse or something from your wallet, or if you want to become a contemporary, we have levels where you can enjoy access to all kinds of other great museums and other great resources. So that's my little pitch. I hope you will come back and join us. Please like us on Facebook. Please tell your friends that we're doing good things. Post on your own Facebook and let us know. You can like Finding Kukan on Facebook. And we really encourage you to do that because when you do that, then other people, your friends, will say, "Oh, what's that film?" and maybe ask you next time they see you at a party. So really, we hope to see you again. Please follow us, like us, and Shadowlight Productions. I mean, I'm so impressed with what you're doing here, and I know that there may be other ties and other things we can do in the future. So I thank you so much for being here. Once again, I want to say thank you also to the CACA Lodge from San Francisco and the good folks there. Round of applause for them. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And our friends at CAM, they do some great things, and they really are there to encourage us to tell our stories and to shed light on all kinds of wonderful things, and your story and many others. So let's do what we can to keep these things alive and keep it going, and let's all be inspired to take action. When we see something that we think is wrong or we think there's something that needs to be told, I hope you will all, whatever that banner is that you're going to hold, I hope that you will find it and that you'll be out there with us and fighting alongside. So thank you so much for being here tonight. Get home safe, and we'll look forward to next time. Thank you.